Hello and welcome back to another episode of Punky's World. I got a snowplow that seems to be surging. I'm wondering what's wrong. The story behind this is that Garen has this snowplow, and basically what happened is the hardware fell out of the carburetor, so he tried to put the hardware back in the carburetor to fix it. It rattled itself out. So let's see if we can figure out why this thing is surging. Let me show you what it's doing real quick. So let's see if we can dive into this thing to figure out why it's surging. Okay, this is a Yard Machine 8 horsepower 26-inch blade with electric start. It's a 2-stage. The actual motor on here is a tecumseh motor. It's got multiple forward speeds and reverse speeds right here. This operates the auger. This drives the wheels forward, so it automatically will drive itself to kick all that snow out of the way. So let's see if we can't Scooby-Doo this thing and figure out what the hell is wrong with it. So you can tell it's already kind of missing some hardware's bolts right there. This thing is rattling off, so we'll probably need to get some bolts. Let's see if we can't get this one off. Look at that, 5/16. 5/16, here we go. It's missing most of the hardware, but there's a bolt right here I need to get off, and I will probably send out to get new hardware so we can actually put this cover back on appropriately, so it's not just hanging there all janky style. Let's see, is it coming off? Yes, it is. All right. We need to pull this part of the cover off as well. I think this pulls off straight up like that. There's a little key. We got that off. There's a little wire right here. Now we can pull this out of the equation. And let's see if this thread's in here. Yes, so pardon the rooster. Okay, so I'm looking at this right now, and looks like it's missing a gasket. There should be like a gasket that goes right there. I wonder if when the hardware came off, if he lost a shut up, if he lost a gasket. Let's pull this off. And oh, he's missing a whole bolt on this other side. Holy potatoes. Yeah, that'll do it. He's getting a lot of air in the system, so I don't know if you can see back there. Can you see it? It's right there. It's missing a bolt. There's a bolt on this side, but not that side. All right, well, we need to get in here, and maybe we'll put a little gasket on there too, because I think it's missing one. Oh yeah, there's no gasket here. That might be a problem. Look at that. Okay. Alright, we need to make a gasket for this thing. Let's do it. Yeah, the gasket's completely gone on this. That is causing too much air into there, and it's not mixing right with fuel. So that probably came off. Get a blade. I'm going to scrape this, and I'm going to take a piece of cardboard and make some sort of makeshift gasket for it. So right here, I'm not going to take the carburetor all the way off. I'm just going to scrape the gasket that's here. The gasket obviously fell out, and this is why this thing is surging. So, and the way I was able to determine that it was surging as well, like that it was, or how I determined that it was a gasket, was the fact that I would spray some PB blaster at the intake, and I could tell the motor was changing the tone and everything. So you'd call that a air leak or something similar to that. But here we go. I'm scraping that as best I can. Maybe I'll use this to help me get in there. Oh yeah, that's working better. So it's getting cleaned up, and then we're going to put a piece of cardboard over here, and we will trace it out, and we will make our gasket work out of this. So I just took a Ziploc box because the thickness of the gasket, I think that'll work. And this is just a makeshift one, and what I need to do is I'm just gonna kind of trace it on the back side of this. And it's nothing, doesn't have to be anything super pretty either. It's just to kind of make the shape. We want to make sure the holes will bolt up to it. And yeah, we'll make just a little makeshift gasket. And I already screwed that up. Just because I'm trying to trace it. Here, let's see if we can't just get our holes at least. That's the important part, and then we can cut the hole for the center. All right, yeah, so I got 2 little holes right there. We'll start making that. I have a socket. I'm just gonna kind of go over the carburetor hole right here. So I just have a basic knowing of the size. So when I cut the hole, it'll work out. Okay, ballpark it. I can always make it better. Yeah, got a little hole there. Let's start cutting it up. This piece of wood here. Start cutting it. Oh, as I throw it. Okay, let's try this again. The camera can see. My hands are filthy. I should be wearing gloves, but yeah, I'm not. Okay. Okay, we got some holes there. I'm gonna put this over the intake, and I'm gonna put more Sharpie and try to find the bolt holes on there. The hole looks like it's lining up. It's doing a well enough job right here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put new marks on the back of the gasket so I know how this is gonna line up, so I can cut the holes in the gasket itself, which is this cardboard. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So I did 2 marks right there. I will, I'll cut the holes, and we'll call this this is the carb side. My writing's bad, it says carb. I know you can't see it, but that's so I know that the carb, this goes to the carb end. All right, let's drill some holes in this. Okay, just gonna use my knife, just cut a little slit in here, and do another one right here. I got my Ziploc bag box that I use because it's a pretty good thickness for a gasket. And we're gonna throw this in the mix, hook up the carburetor, and see if this solves the surging problem, which hopefully it does. We have makeshift hardware as well, but we're gonna do our best to make it work. So here goes nothing. Okay, got 1 bolt in there. And it's gonna be tough because I drilled my own holes with this bolt. So I think it'll be okay. The most important part is the circle. So there's some gasket material right there. But let's see if we can't make this more better. How long this gasket will last, I don't know. But it'll make it through the season, hopefully. There's no gasket at all before, so can't have that because you're gonna get leaks. It's just no good. It's no good, man. It's no good. Okay, and we'll put the other bolt in there. As my father says. So I'm actually, I took Punky's World on the road here. I am actually not at my lab. I am out in Pittsfield, New Hampshire right now. And we're doing a bunch of farm work, fixing random stuff. Get in there. Yeah, okay. So I got a lock washer on there. I'm gonna try to just get one of the nuts on there. And then once I get one of the nuts on there, I can do the other one and I can do the final tightening up process. It's very primitive with the tools that I have to work with over here because I don't have all the tools like I have in the lab. But you know, we'll make it work. One way or another, we're gonna get this thing going and prepare for the winter months. When you don't have working machinery and you have to plow snow, it is not a fun deal. I'm working right here, just trying to get this nut on the back side of the intake, and it's kind of a finger fuck deal. How will this go on there? I don't know. Got a couple threads. Okay, we got a couple threads going. Gonna have to use this little screwdriver here because it's not, there's hardly any work at all, room to work at all in the back of this carb. It's interesting the way the intake is set up. Just gonna try and make it work the best we can. That's all we can do, right? Now I gotta get this side on there. Not fun. Shouldn't have to use needle nose pliers to get in here. Like, this is insane. There's no room to work. Primitive tools, man. I'm getting slow turns. Slowly, but it's turning. This is not a fun carb. It's tightening, just a slow freaking process. Okay. All right, I think that's pretty good. Let's try it. Let's try to run it and see what happens. So it's gonna be on, prime it, that. So, looks like it did need a gasket. We put a cardboard gasket in there and we were able to get it to work. So that's cool. I'm gonna tighten those bolts up a little more. It's a little more tedious work, but slow turns. I got a lock washer on the end of the bolt, or end of the nut. That'll help it keep it tight as well. I also need to get some screws because that cover is not mounting on there appropriately. So we might have to go to the hardware store to get it. But ultimately, this solved the problem. So if you're having hesitation, there's no doubt you might be having carburetor issues, but a surging thing could be simply the linkages off of a tooth. If you're hooking up the governor back up, if you pulled the carburetor off, because they have certain holes on the carburetor that you're supposed to hook that linkage up to. It could be that. But in this case, we realized that it needed a gasket because when we took it off, there was no gasket. There was parts of a gasket. And the way I tested is I took some PB Blaster spray. I sprayed it between the carburetor and the intake, and I could tell there was a change in the motor function. And actually, it blew out a little black smoke from the exhaust because it was just sucking down PB Blaster. So there was obviously a leak from the intake. So we made a paper gasket, we put it in place, and now she's running fine. So we did it. So anyways, thank you for joining me on this episode of Punky's World. I hope to see you on the next episode. Cheers.